Oh, hello. Welcome to episode 43 of the BlindSighted podcast. Today we're talking about if it ain't broke, improve it. Or some of us have this other mindset, and I certainly did. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, leave it be. But we're going to talk about how that can move us into complacency, which causes maybe some bad habits and things that we are starting to get blind to. Hi, I'm Charlie Collins, and I am a co host here on the BlindSighted podcast, a speaker, and a coach. And hello, Brenda.
Hi, Charlie. Good morning. That's a great topic. I'm excited about this topic today. My name is Brenda Hayden. I'm the founder of Time for 10. We're an emotional awareness coaching service. We teach people how to challenge their conditioned thinking so that they can lead a better life, and get to the exact nature of the things that bother and trigger them. And I'm excited to be here today. We have a thriving YouTube channel. Go visit it at Time for a 10. And there's a presence on TikTok too, if you want to head out there. Great to be here this morning. Oh, and I'm the co-host of this podcast. I always forget to say that because I just figure it's assumed. But you know what they say about the word assume?
Yeah, it makes an ASS out of you and me.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's good to be here. Good to be have a wonderful Christmas and a little break these 2 weeks. And now we're coming to the end of the year. So I was thinking, what am I not seeing? Whether it's in my environment, my mind, my physical body, what are things that it's okay. It's working. Why bother taking a look at it? Now I have a mind that does seem to like to improve or create a better system or process in order to do something faster because I like speed and I realize that most things I do I try to do fast, and I mean then I catch myself say, why am I doing this fast? I remember Molly once. I was coming out of the shower and booking through the room and getting dressed, and she's like, "Are you late to something?" No, no, I don't have an appointment. Oh, it looks like you're in a marathon, getting out of the bedroom. Oh yeah, whoops. And then I slow down. But what do you think about what things that are not broken in your life, Brenda, that you kind of maybe look at and say, "How can I improve this?"
That's a great question, Charlie. Just taking a minute to think about that, to slow down long enough to think about, am I happy? Am I enjoying my job? Do I like my routine? Am I working out the way I like to? There's the list could go on and on if you just stop and take an inventory of, are you happy in your day-to-day with what you're doing? And if you just made a list, am I happy in my day-to-day with what I'm doing? And just make a list of what you're doing day-to-day and figure out what brings you joy and what doesn't. It's a great way to start, to pause and take a look at it, shine a light on it, see what's going on. Ask the questions. Which I didn't answer the question because there's a big long list.
Well, right. And, and it started like the garage. And I put that out there. And I was working with somebody recently on the phone. And, it's like, my garage door opens, right? When you hit the button. And I don't, in the car, let's say, whether I'm walking in, driving the tractor in, doing whatever. But, and the door opens, not broke. And that's great. And there's just enough room for the car, but it's a mess. And there, could walk around things, or maybe something you hang on the wall, sticking out a little far, and you bump it with your shoulder. And, subconsciously you're taking a look and you're like, I really got to get this cleaned up. And and that's it. And it's like, because that environment isn't serving me. It's irritating me a little. And I hold that in. And the more I do that, I'm going to do it someday. That's a form of, we step into complacency, which then forms a habit, which then it's like, we just carry that throughout the day. So if you're pulling in the morning, or you're coming home from a long day, and you're just and think of the garage as your bedroom environment, your family room environment, your kitchen environment. What what is it that you go to open a cabinet in in your kitchen and go, I really got to organize these pots and pans because I get frustrated trying to find what I need, and so it's not broke, but it is possible to improve it. And what's on the other side of that improvement is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what is coming into my awareness, Charlie, is motivation. You're talking about motivation. Motivation to do something differently that's going to, improve your life or your environment. And I think one of the things that I've been guilty of when I have a garage type, opportunity is I have this all or nothing thinking. Like, so I got to do the whole garage right now, right? I got to get this done. I got to get it off my plate. I got to do the whole garage. And I think I set myself up for failure when I think that way. I could go in and say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to work on the garage today. One small goal on one day. And then over time, if you do 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week, over time, that garage is going to start looking great. Right. And it's about setting a small goal that you can achieve. For me, anyway, I set a small goal that I can achieve because that is a strength of mine, by the way. And one of the things I was fascinated to learn at Columbia is there's this company called the VIA Institute, and you can go on there and you can take an assessment and it'll tell you what all your strengths are. And it'll also tell you the things that you're not so strong at. And what the research studies show is that if you improve on your strengths, forget about the things that you're not so strong at. If you improve on your strengths, the things that you're not so strong at will organically get better. Right. And people kind of make that mistake. They're like, oh, I'm weak at this. They judge themselves as weak. I'm weak at this, so I'm going to focus on making that better. You're not really good at it. So just accept that you're not really good at it and focus on what you're good at. And that's going to rise on its own. So the same thing with these like circumstances in my life that are garage-like circumstances. I can set small goals on a regular basis, which requires discipline. Stick to those small goals. One of the ways I do that is by writing it down. I set an intention to do it. Michael Beckwith says that this country has intention deficit disorder. So I set an intention, and then for that one day, not for the week, for the day when before I leave the house. And then I make that happen. I discipline myself to make that happen. What do you think about that?
I like the intention deficit disorder.
Yeah, me too. I love Michael Beckwith. Look him up. He's great.
Oh, he is.
Oh.
So so one of the things that wasn't broken, but I want to improve it is I noticed when on these podcasts, I move a lot, I got energy flowing through my body, and I'm like, and I'm watching myself like, stop moving. Of course, I can't hear me because it's a recording. And then I started practicing. And then I'm not listening because I'm going, don't move. But over time, I really, I touch it. And I'm just like, and it's not that I'm nervous. It's just that energy is flowing. And my body likes, and you mentioned it. I said, oh my God, I am moving so much. And you're like, yeah, you do that all the time. Not, you said it in a playful way, like, that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to improve that. Brenda, I started working with some sighted people. First, in life, I worked with people with blindness, right? Well, not first, but for many years. And they got a bit of an excuse. I mean, please don't use it. But, it could be, if it ain't broke, I don't need to fix it. They take the simplest, the easiest path. They try to organize their lives to work with a vision impairment. I started working with sighted people. I went, oh my gosh, they have the same blind spots. They have the same struggles. I just thought blind people only had certain ones. And I realized sighted people too, because we don't see with our eyes. We see with our brains. And if you have, it could be a mind environment, a body environment, a physical room, home, work, any type of environment that kind of pulls you away from being at your best self, it just take a step back. What can I do? How can I to improve this? And like you said, me too. Oh my gosh, I used to go to do the garage. I pulled everything out. It's in the driveway.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Bother me, don't talk to me. I
Yeah.
am not warm and fuzzy. I have overwhelmed myself. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking now. It's time to scrub the floor with the power washer. Well, let me paint everything. Let me fix it perfectly. Now it's getting dark. I'm trying to get everything back in, and I am exhausted. And I might have, one screwdriver's out of place. I'm irritated. Like, it's like I really had to take a look at that, because maybe it's not broke, it's working, but it's not working for me,
Right.
and that's what's important. I started realizing, let me just do this section. And here's the great part. Something is that, and then celebrate that. Stop, start, stop, celebrate. You did it. You cleaned it. It feels good. It looks good. Take a nice breath and go. Leave it alone and come back to it.
Mm. That's beautiful, Charlie. And for me, that's the part I forget. I didn't even mention that. Celebrating it. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. Celebrate. And I think that's so important. It's so easy to focus on my garage is a mess, my bedroom's a mess, or this is something I really need to address, or I can improve on this. And then we do it and we don't congratulate ourselves
Right.
for doing it. And that's really important, to celebrate the small wins. Let me check the chat here and say good morning to our regulars here. Hi, Kate. Hi, Trish. It's good to see everybody here today. Thanks for joining the morning podcast. People are coming in a little bit late. It's scrolling down, but good morning to our regulars. We're glad you're here. We appreciate your loyalty coming to our podcast today. So if it isn't broken, don't fix it. There's another thing that you came into my awareness when you were talking about this, Charlie, and that's, oftentimes in the past, I would wait till things became a crisis before I fixed it. I only made a change when I was in enough pain or discomfort to make that change with whatever it was. And there's so much drama that happens in that period of time, from something comes into my awareness that I know I can improve on that would make my life better, right? And I put it off and put it off. And then it becomes a crisis where now I have to do it, not to make my life better, but to resolve a problem. It's become a problem. Has that happened to you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. If it's in your awareness, it's in your awareness for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So don't shelf it.
No, don't. Because each of those denials of the awareness, they just don't help. They form, it could start the forming of a bad habit. It could be I'm a victim. It could be I feel sorry for myself. It could be I'm angry that nobody else is showing up to fix this area of my life. And so those things all can happen, Brenda. And I see it all the time with computers. And I'm not going to use any names, but there's like, let me try to find that. Well, didn't it get sent to you? And do you have a system in place that, and I have been getting better and better and better, because I can't stand looking for something that I know I'm going to need someday. It's a picture, it's a quote, it's something. And oh man, with this new Copilot AI stuff, it searches my computer and looks on I love it. But it's like, why do I want to frustrate the heck out of myself? I can't believe I had 2 talks with this person on the phone, and I didn't take the moment to put her name in, his name in. Now I got to go back and look through and listen to that voice, several voicemails, to find that one. Oh, this is it. I think, oh yeah, this is the one. Let me call it. Oh, hey, and I still don't take the time to put the name in. It's like, why? I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm legally blind. I don't need to add more looking, searching. I need to be more organized. Why is that always bubbling up? Because it's always in my awareness. How
Mm,
can I improve this to lessen the frustration and help me connect to what is possible?
beautiful. Beautiful. And Trish just asked the same question. She said, how do you overcome that? Like, how do you overcome letting
Oh,
something get to a crisis before you make that change? And it's an excellent question. And, Charlie just said it, and I said it before. It's when it comes into your awareness, it comes into your awareness for a reason. A lot of times it'll cross our minds, it'll come into our awareness, and we'll be like, oh yeah, I'll look at that later. Or we don't pay attention. We don't stop long enough to pay attention that which is being brought right in front of our eyes. I mean, if you notice it, then it means it means that you're supposed to look at it. Would you agree?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I fight that and I get mad and then, hello, welcome to my world. But I'm constantly, this is a new shirt, so it's
It's really
bothering me.
nice. I
I gotta
commented on it
clean it.
earlier. Christmas
It is
present for
gonna be broke. So and
Brenda.
so Brenda, I mean, I do video editing, I do all this stuff on the computer, right?
Mhm.
And you gotta have a title, a description, then you need keywords and you need emotional triggers, right? And then you gotta design a thumbnail and you've got to put a certain amount of words only on it. You got to make sure they're searchable. Then you got to do links, and then you got to, and I was all over the place. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've got to create a workflow. And on top of legal blindness, magnification, using adaptive tools, setting up microphones, cameras, lighting, and it's like I don't even give myself credit sometimes. It's like I should know better. I should know more than this. I should be the best at this. And it's like, hold on. So I create systems and then checklists because nothing worse. I did it recently. I sent an email out. I duplicated the email. So that meant it just brought my theme and template over. And then I changed what I want, but I forgot to change the subject. It made no sense. And I went, darn it. So what do I got to do? It wasn't broken, but I could improve that.
Right.
So I create a checklist. I don't have to check the box. It's just like, okay, I did this. I did this. I know how to use the video on the timeline, how to open things up, move things around. I can now take something with several different tracks. So that means audio, video, pictures, transitions, also call outs, lower thirds. And I'm sorry, I know this is probably German to some people, but I can take all of that and compile it into a done video in a short amount of time now and then upload it. And that took because I was doing it wrong. And then I said, wait a minute, how can I create a workflow that works for me? It might not be the one for you. So nobody can do it for me. I can get ideas from listening to you. I can get ideas from listening to somebody on YouTube, but then I got to take those ideas and say what works for me.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, creating a workflow. So there's two things. And this also goes back to Trisha's question about, how do you do it? You pay attention to the level of discomfort that you're feeling about the circumstance, right? That's in your awareness. Because it's not, look, if you don't address it, if you don't do anything about it, if you don't make a positive move, right? The level of discomfort is only going to rise. So you can pay attention to how that level of discomfort is rising and then pick the time you want to do it. Do you want to make a change when you're in crisis mode and you're forced to make a change? Or do you want to nip it when it's, maybe down here a little bit more? And you said create a workflow. And workflows, whether it's workflowing your day or workflowing when you're going to post. I do, I have a thriving YouTube channel. I have a thriving TikTok page. I've got to constantly be posting to keep my audience engaged. Like I workflowed those things so that I know I can actually schedule posts to go out when I want them to go out. So workflows are really, really important. And the third thing you mentioned is asking for help. I mean, I forget often that I don't have to do anything alone. There's a whole slew of people I could turn to. I could go to YouTube. I can go to friends and family. I can go to people that I know are experts in this field and ask them questions. I could listen to a podcast. I could take we offer, workshops. I could take a workshop on how to do it. Or we will be offering workshops. We have a couple designed. We haven't put them out there yet. We're working on it, right, Charlie?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We certainly are, and we will be doing that. So I wanted to something happened. So 2025 is right around the corner, right? And if you want to ignite the light inside, the light of insight, of innovation, of inspiration, of gratitude, of because you want to move away to stuff that pisses you off, that you get frustrated about. You want to move, like my studio is meticulously thought out, cable routing, and because I don't want to get frustrated. I learned way back, Brenda, in the motorcycle business, right? I started learning motorcycles more than because somebody would walk in, right? And they would say, "Oh, does that ZX7R have 4 or 6 piston calipers on the front brake?" And I'm like, "It has a front brake, yes." What? Calipers? Oh my gosh, my customers knew more than I did. Now, I could tell you the price and your monthly payment, and let's close the deal.
Yeah.
But then I said, "Oh, it wasn't broke. I was doing decent on the floor selling." But I realized if I wanted to raise my confidence, ignite the light inside of me, and get motivated, inspired, and not go, "Oh, here comes another customer. I get to get embarrassed again." No. So I went and started pulling the manuals from all these things and reading everything. And I went to magazines and I read. And I went to there was no websites too much back then, and I started going, "No, this one has 4 piston caliper, which when that pushes on the brake pad, that gives you an extremely good amount of consistent, even braking. So this bike stops much quicker than this bike. That's why it's called a performance bike. If you're looking for, and I started understanding because it wasn't broken when I was doing okay, but I wanted to be the best, not the best competitively, because to the other people in there, I wanted to thrive in my job. And that's what it took was I was getting those little inner promptings. Hey, maybe you should study a little more. Maybe you should look at, and I get them still to this day. The door of willingness for constant, never ending improvement hasn't shut in my life. Thank God.
I love that, Charlie. You were motivated to do it. What would you say was the number one, or is the number one barrier to actually taking action on a garage circumstance for you?
Too busy. And I formed my body. As soon as my mind says, my body says, "No, you got other things." You know what I mean? There's a disconnect. I'm not synergistically, I don't have the experience, Brenda, or even more. Each experience in our life creates an emotion, right?
Yes.
So the experience of me going, "I don't like this, but I can get into the house." Now, my garage is very clean. But I know people's garages that aren't. And I've been helping my buddy with it, saying, "Come on, let me help you. Let's get this. Trust me, you're going to flourish because you're carrying this garbage throughout your day."
Yep.
But anyway, so I had formed a habit around the comfortableness of being irritated, sadly, because we'll form habits and we will get connected, addicted to emotions. So each experience throughout our day creates an emotion, right?
Absolutely.
And that emotion, it doesn't need to be good. It could be tightness or whatever, but I'm addicted to it. Like that's my go-to. Our most practiced way of living for many years was selfishness, dishonesty, full of fear, taking actions based on me getting what I want and not worrying about what other people get. That I was a prey to misery and depression. I was full of fear. My emotional natures I couldn't handle. I mean, I was addicted to that on top of alcohol and drugs. And because I use those things to solve my mind vice grip constantly. So back to the garage, and then I'll pass it on to you. I finally realized this experience is creating this emotion. What if I just, like you said, I stopped doing the whole thing and let me arrange these two shelves. Let me pull everything down. Do I need this? Is it serving me? And, I got a little problem with, I might need it someday. Uh, Tools, forget about it. I'm keeping them all. Don't even go there. But, like a light that I haven't used in 8 years. I might need it someday. So I've gotten better. Molly's probably cracking up somewhere in the house. But anyway, that's how, Brenda, I said, what would it look like? How would I feel if I came in and my workbench area was well lit, organized, and I wanted to go to it?
Yes.
That's what I did. I started visualizing my success, and then I took the action, and that visualization became true.
Absolutely, Charlie. Saying that word a lot today. You're spot on. There's two things that go on for me, right? One is the story I tell myself, right? It's the story I tell myself. So I'll put in a solid day's work, and I'll come home from work and I'll be like, you know what? I deserve to just sit in front of the TV and eat some pretzels or bad food. Like, I deserve to just relax right now and do this. And I look at that circumstance, that garage circumstance or whatever it is, as a chore. Instead of as like an opportunity to feel good. Instead of like, I get to go work on my garage for a little while instead of, I have to go victim, poor me, like, right? I get to go do something that's going to make me feel good. That's not the story I come home telling myself after a hard day at work or a challenging day or even a good day. Even when I come home on a good day, I'm like, I don't want to spoil my mood. Let me just go relax, right? And I don't look at these opportunities as ways to grow, ways to expand, that I'm going to actually, just what you said, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to feel really good that I made that step towards a goal that I really want to accomplish. That's something that is going to possibly even change my habitual thinking. So we think we need to challenge our belief system first, that when something like that comes into our awareness, it's an opportunity. It's not a chore. If I look at it as a chore, I'm already checked out. If I'm looking at it as something I have to do, I'm already checked out. So I need to change my narrative about it. And I need to do what you just said. I totally love that. And I do it all the time. I visualize it. I close my eyes and I picture the end result. And I picture what my experience will be like with the end result as if it's happening now. And the emotion that gets tied to that is beautiful and it's motivating and it puts an energy out there that I want to feel again. So even if you just do 5 or 10 minutes a day on the garage, that is the energy you're going to be experiencing. Like, woohoo, right? Woohoo. It's a good energy. Trish says, thank you for mentioning Copilot. I don't use it. I'm going to try it out now because I'm not very organized when it comes to my folders and stuff. I often am finding myself searching for stuff.
Yeah, and that's if you like taking the time and getting frustrated and saying, I forget where I put that, let me search. It's not on that drive. If you enjoy that, then continue down that path.
Yeah. No thanks.
I don't. I want to break my computer when I start doing that. And it's not my computer's fault. It says, hi, I'm here. I have different areas for you to build a wonderful business and life within me, and I will manage it. And I hope you have your backup drive going. And it's like, we know better. We know we should back up our computers. Now with all the cloud storage, I just have it going there and whatever. So, But back to the visualization. Stephen Covey in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is where I learned to begin with the end in mind. My end, I always began with, was failure, was
Yeah.
lack of success, was lack, was scarcity, was poor me, was I'm never going to be able to, was I'd only have a high school degree, I'm legally blind. So that's what I began. The end in mind for me was not good. So what did I produce in my life? What did that vision give me? Alcohol, accidents, uh, poor me all the time. So then I'm coming out of that denial, that closet in my mind, that jail I built, right, Brenda? Because I don't know it's broken. So I'm certainly not fixing it. I don't know. I just think I've gotten a crappy hand dealt for life. I believe that. You said challenge that belief. Is this really what the creator, my higher power, wants me to have for a life? A life of suffering, a life of blindness, and a life of barely being able to make it? Absolutely not. That's what I created. But I didn't do it on purpose. I did it because it didn't seem broken. It just seemed like that's the best it was going to get for Charlie. And then one of the first books I read, on top of getting well from my alcoholism. Okay, I said it online. Like I care. I wrote a book. uh, is the 7 Habits and he explained what beginning with the end in mind does in our body, in our minds, and how we then will move towards that because we already see it, we already feel it, we already smell it, we already taste it. Okay, maybe not taste it unless you're baking cookies in your mind. Woo. You know what I mean? And then he gives an example, Brenda. This guy's out, he is just sawing a tree, and he's been there all day. And now the guy didn't begin, he just went out. I have to cut this tree down. You said it earlier. I'm a victim. Life sucks, but I got to get some wood in the house to heat it. This is terrible. And he's cutting, and he's 8 hours. I mean, he's cutting forever. It's a big tree. And somebody comes into the woods and says, "Hey, buddy, why don't you stop and sharpen the saw?" "I don't have time. I got to cut this tree." And it's like, pull out the saw. Nothing like a sharp chainsaw. Oh, and sharpens the blade, takes the time to organize the folders, to make the garage neat. And then he begins with the end in mind. He sees 5 trees coming down that day because halfway through, he pulls out the saw, he sharpens everything, goes back, and tree goes down in an hour. That's what I needed to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what came into my awareness while you were telling that story? Pick a smaller tree.
Get a damn
Pick a
chainsaw.
smaller tree, dude. You get it done faster.
It's way
You
back.
gotta do 5 small trees, and then you're not without any wood. Molly says, thank you for the visualization. I can't say it either. Thought it's a great reminder. And she said, thank you. Yeah, visualization is really important, to just think about, just to picture yourself having that goal that you're setting for yourself. Yep, I love it. So my mind's completely blank in this moment, Charlie. So
Good. I just wanted to tell everyone that we are streaming on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We are streaming on 2 YouTube channels and one other one that I always forget, but whatever one of those platforms are. We are actually streaming on several platforms at once. And the nice thing is, in this system, is that everywhere we stream, Brenda, it records it and leaves it there for
yeah.
people to watch. And, I got some notice from you on, they picked a few videos and said, "You've hit 2,500 views." I'm like, "I
Okay.
did?"
That's great.
That's great. You mean Brenda and I in the podcast. So, and then I noticed that I'm getting a lot of activity on LinkedIn now. I'm not doing anything. except posting these videos. I'm not doing that. The system is.
Yeah.
The system, and that's what the game of life. You want to make it easier. Right now, Brenda, you and I showed up. We logged in and we've already done all this testing and we get to do what we do. Host a podcast and dive into the thoughts and the solution and the blocks and just kind of work things out and talk about our topic. But can you imagine if I remember in the day, we had to put these key codes in. We had to have Facebook open and then make sure it was playing on this one and that one. And now these systems have been created by very smart people so that podcasters, whatever you want to call the people that are streaming like this, can do what they do best and not fumble with the keys, even though I still need to do that.
Yeah. And this is a really fun podcast to do, Charlie. And I wanted to also mention, in case people don't know, that Charlie and I are proud to announce that we are both guides now on the Soul app. The Soul app is the #1 downloaded spirituality and mental health app on Google and Apple Play right now. And Charlie and I have onboarded as guides, which means coaches on that app. You can book with us. But the app also offers all kinds of different traditions that you can learn about. I'm learning Buddhism on the Soul app, daily affirmations, things you can share with people. They just rolled out something called Soul Circles, so you can build a community for yourself. And we're just really proud to be part of that collaborative.
SOL.
SOL. Thank you, Charlie. So it's Soul Technologies and it's Get Soul, GETSOL.app. Enjoy. And make sure you friend us if you guys get on Soul. Make sure you friend us.
Yeah. And mine is From Frustration to Freedom. And I do a course in there with those who sign up with me. And in business, Brenda, when I'm moving into business coaching too. Really, the game of life is business, right? So it's all same thing. But I want to do From Frustration to Profits.
Oh, I love that. I have to disagree, though. I don't agree that the game of life is business. I believe the game of life is heart.
Podcast
Heart
now.
And soul. Heart and soul, Charlie. Heart and soul.
I'm just saying there's systems and processes that run a really good business, and there's systems and processes that run a good home.
100%.
That's what I meant. And, let me just go to OSHA for a minute. Do you realize if this is interesting to you, if it ain't broke, improve it. Take a look at it. How can we? If that's something like this, really, I love this. Well, you could make a real good business out of this. OSHA is constantly on top of businesses because if we go into work and we do the same thing over and over, we get complacent and there's injuries and people get killed at work. There are so many problems that OSHA is monitoring the fact that something isn't broken, it works, but it needs to be improved. And you must stay vigilant, constant vigilance, and especially manufacturing and things. But I saw it in my own company, Brenda. It's like when everybody got used to doing things a certain way, then I would introduce something new. Let's try. This seems, because I see it. I see we can serve our customers better. We can do a better marketing campaign. We can do something better. I'm beginning with the end in mind, but we all got to learn a few new tactics and styles of working with our computers or with our customers. I would have a weekly Saturday meeting. We do role playing, have a blast in it, but it was all to constant, never ending improvement because I am no different than anyone else. I can fall into a familiar comfort zone. And when you tell me or you provide feedback around that saying, there's a better way, I get aggravated. Like, shut up. I didn't ask. But I realize that, so I got to stay awake to me doing the same things over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah. The thing is, Charlie, we get comfortable in our patterns. We get comfortable in routine. We get comfortable in what's familiar, and doing something different always feels like putting on a pair of shoes that's 2 sizes too small. It just does. until you get in the habit of, like, I've gotten in the habit of just doing it, even if it's uncomfortable. I mean, I ended up, and you were here for this this part of my life. I moved an hour and a half away from where I've lived for 20 years to get away from an individual, right? And to be closer to work. I had to start my life over in a different town, find different meetings, different community, different supports. Then I started graduate school, and now I have to fit that all in. Then I started a business. I had to fit that all in. Like, I didn't, like, wake up and jump out of bed in the morning and say, woohoo, I get to do all these new things. I was petrified. I was petrified to move, petrified to go to school, petrified to start a business. And I, one of the greatest tools that I learned was to ask questions. What is that feeling here to teach me? That's all feelings are there for, is to teach you something. It's not, so I learned how to embrace them and ask. I just ask the feelings questions. If it's fear, I literally close my eyes and say, hi, fear. What are you here to teach me? Hey, pain, what's going on? What are you here to teach me? What are you here to teach me? Curiosity, curiosity, curiosity. And that's what got me through all of those really difficult, challenging times. And now I have to say I'm on the other side, right? I graduated from school in May, summa cum laude. I've learned a whole bunch of stuff. I have a thriving business that's coming to fruition that's going to allow me in the next year to be leaving a 9-to-5 job and doing that business full time. I mean, it could not have gone any better. And it was only because it was only because I worked hard, yes, but I was willing to take the next step. My friend, our fellow coach Leanda said, take the first step and the stairs will just appear. And that's exactly what happened. I took the first step and the next stair appeared, and I took the step, and so on and so on. So this stuff really works. It does. And Charlie, you were a big part of my support system, moving through all of these really difficult life changes. And I just say, bless your heart. Thank you so much for everything, including this podcast, by the way, which taught me confidence. And remember when we first started the podcast, I was like, so nervous. And now we're just able to be ourselves. I learned that from you, Charlie. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you too, because you kicked me in the butt enough. And I need it, and I appreciate that. So, all right, so we're going to bring this to a close. Any other comments or things in the chat that you want to bring to our awareness?
I do. Kate says the definition of insanity, and it's so worth repeating as many times as we can, is doing the same thing over and over again. And what, Charlie?
And expecting different results.
Yeah, not going to happen. No. Thank you, Kate.
I know. And the funny thing is, we all know that, and we keep freaking acting like insanes. But hey, you're not alone. That's why we all do what we do, Brenda and I, in the communities. And so anyway, I got this ignite the light of insight, ignite the power within. Give it install a new battery. 2025 is coming. And Brenda and I are going to do a webinar and some series, but we want to, what areas of your life, because 30 minutes in the garage, in your closet, where your clothes are and your shoes.
How about your refrigerator, Charlie? How about your refrigerator? Getting rid of that bad food. How about your refrigerator?
Yeah.
Pick one bad food to get rid of. Go yucca it and say, I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to put it in my body in 2025.
Yeah. I started that process in 2007. Started. And it's a constant, never ending process with life. But I'm saying, you want to ignite that, do something. Make 12 areas of your life, and each month, trust me, trust us, that this light will grow and get brighter, and you'll get more dopamine and endorphins, and you'll feel, because, I got the side of me that gets knocked down. I'm not, I get it. I practiced one way of living for so long. That way of living, which is feeling sorry for myself, to boil it down, wants to come back. I don't get it, because right now I'm jacked. I feel wonderful. I love doing this. It's like, okay, great. So we got to keep doing.
Yep. Every week. Here we go.
All right. So, Brenda, any last closing comments, words of wisdom?
Happy New Year. Don't drink too much.
I won't.
I won't drink at all. I'm an alcoholic too.
But Happy New Year. Yes. But let's all ignite together. Those of you that keep coming, let's bring in somebody new. Let's help somebody. Let's appreciate somebody today. And don't forget to visualize. Begin with that beautiful end in mind. And trust me, the steps will appear as you move towards it.
Yeah. Challenge your thinking. Challenge your thinking. Challenge your thinking.
And of course, please go ahead, like us, subscribe us, share us. And, it's amazing. Like 70% of people that watch YouTube videos don't like or subscribe. And that's okay. I'm not here to judge. Just like and subscribe to ours.
Yeah. Do the right thing.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Happy New Year.